welcome everybody. We're going to get started here. My name is Sean Cassidy. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out this morning. I've had the pleasure of serving as the Executive Director for Mothers Against Drunk Driving for the past 3 years here in Rhode Island. And 2001's been a tough year on the roadways with over 60 fatalities already this year. In 2019, 25 of the 57 fatal crashes involved an impaired driver. That puts us at about 44%, while the national average is 28% involved in impaired driving crashes, fatalities. So we've got more work to do here in Rhode Island. One of those things is the law enforcement in the state does a large campaign now through January 1st for the Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over campaign. And MADD partners with that by doing honor patrols. With the help of law enforcement and the DOT, we pair victims with targeted DUI patrols that go out during the Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over campaign that are done in honor of a victim. The officer that's out doing that patrol gets information about their victim. They're able to know about what happened to them, how they were involved in the crash, what impact they had on the family, what that victim's likes and hopes were. And it really brings some reality to the situation and keeps those victims honored during that time frame. It's a great campaign and we get a lot of help. We had over 30 patrols go out last year and helped about 20 victims who were involved in the program. So it's a great opportunity for our victims to feel part of what's going on, keep their memory alive, and for the families to just have some involvement around the holidays and something to know about that's going on in memory of their person. The Department of Transportation has been steadfast in working to keep Rhode Island roadways safe. In 2015, Director Peter Alviti took over as Director of the DOT, and he has been pivotal in moving us forward to our goal of getting no more victims on the roadway. I'd like to take the opportunity to invite Peter up, and thank you. Please.
Here, you want me to hold that? I'm going to put it up here. We'll figure it out. Come on. Good morning and happy holidays to everyone. And that's what we're hoping, right? I mean, we do these kinds of events every year around this time because although it's a great season of joy, it's also a very dangerous season for everybody out on the roads and the highways of Rhode Island. I'd like to acknowledge the Deputy Attorney General that's here today with us, Chief Sid Waddell, retired Executive Director of the Rhode Island Police Chiefs Association, Dave Raposa, Managing Director of AAA Northeast, and Kathy Antriozzi, who's been a great partner with us at DOT in furthering the effort of eliminating drunk driving in Rhode Island. Here we are again. As I said, we do this every year, and we're heading into another holiday season. And every year we do this. We implore the public not to drink and drive. We've had the pandemic during the last year, a couple of years. And between now and the last time we got together, the message is exactly the same. People are continuing to die on our highways from drunk driving. And they're absolutely avoidable crashes. For the last few years, more than 40%, you heard the director, we're up to 44% of fatalities in accidents in Rhode Island are the result of DUIs. While the number has been decreasing a bit, it now has picked up, and it's slowly increasing. To make matters worse, we've seen a spike in the overall number of traffic fatalities. Right now, we had 60 fatalities in 2021. At the same time last year, the number was a bit worse. It was 66, and in 2019, it was 55. So if you do the math, that's 181 traffic deaths in the last 3 years leading into the holidays. If you consider it, nearly half of those were drunk driving accidents. That's 80 or 90 people, 80 or 90 souls that would still be with us today had it not been for a bad decision that they made, the wrong decision. And they didn't live to see another Christmas, and they didn't live to see another New Year with us. History tells us the next 2 weeks will be challenging, with a spike in fatal crashes occurring between now and January. In the past 3 years, Thanksgiving and New Year's Day, we lost 13 people, again, 5 of which were the result of drunk drivers. So when you apply all of these statistics to this year, the cold reality that we're facing is there's a good chance we could see more accidents and the number go higher between now and the end of the year. As you'll hear from other speakers here today, police officers this holiday season will be dedicating their impaired driving patrols to honor someone who has been killed or injured in a drunk driving accident. More than 30 such patrols will be out in force over the next 2 weeks. We have our partners from the local police departments here today with us. During the last couple of years, DOT has worked with them to reinforce and create new patrol units that are specifically targeted at DUI. Likewise with the state police, they've actually created a whole new unit at the state police that is dedicating themselves to going out and catching people that are committing a crime and putting other people's lives in danger by drunk driving. And they have been very successful. I believe there have been nearly 2,000 arrests and prosecutions as a result of these new patrols during the last several years. But notwithstanding that, we still have this persistent problem, which is why MADD and the other agencies that are here with us today are so important to us at DOT. Because in addition to the enforcement, education, and people understanding this problem and hearing that the problem is preventable, but it still exists, is a very important part of what we need to do to change the culture here in Rhode Island of people making the wrong decision and getting behind the wheel. So I implore anyone that's listening to, during this holiday season, if you see someone about to make that wrong decision, intercede. Take the keys, offer them a ride, offer them a place to stay so that they don't get behind the wheel drunk and put other people's lives in danger. And in the unfortunate circumstance that it happens, you don't feel as though you've participated in it. So let's be active about it, intervene, take the keys, give them a ride home, or have them stay over with you, but don't let them get behind the wheel drunk. Only working together are we going to be able to straighten out this preventable tragedy. So thank you everyone for coming and helping us get the word out, and have a safe and happy holiday. Thanks.
Thank you, Director. Another strong advocate in keeping Rhode Island safe is the hard work done by the Attorney General's office. The Attorney General advocates for and protects the people here in Rhode Island. Please welcome up our next speaker, Deputy Chief of Rhode Island Attorney General's Office, John Corrigan.
Thank you, Sean. I'd like to begin my remarks by focusing public attention on our state's police officers, especially those who commit themselves daily to the investigation of impaired driving cases. It takes a tremendous amount of training, experience, and dedication to attack the problem of impaired driving in this state or any other. And Rhode Island can be very proud of the dedication shown by those officers who go through special training, who commit themselves to the work of detecting drunk drivers, and then in the worst possible cases where someone is killed or injured, they step up to the plate and bring to bear their training and experience. They really are the backbone of this state's enforcement effort. And in the Office of Attorney General, we rely on their hard work to obtain justice for families who've suffered the loss of a son, daughter, brother, sister, parent. And we come into contact with those families because of what happened on the worst day of their lives. These families embark on a journey, time-consuming journey, fraught with worry, anxiety, and permeated by a sense of loss. And we know at the end of the day, no matter how hard we work on these cases, no matter how dedicated the participants to the investigation are, if we get justice for the family, we know that we can never set things right. And that's why I think at this season I would call upon anyone out there in the state of Rhode Island. Give some thought to the families who've lost a loved one, what they go through while a case makes its way through the system, and then when it's over, a lifetime of loss. I've spoken a little bit about what police officers have to do in order to make effective investigations when it comes to impaired driving cases. And that work spills over into our office. And as I said, we come into contact with these families. It also requires prosecutors who've dedicated themselves to the specialized area of enforcement. Requires victim services team members who accompany families on that journey through a strange process that they never thought that they'd have to go through. And so I think that this Honor Patrol campaign is one of the most appropriate ways to observe the scourge of drunk driving at this season. Our hope is for what they call 0 fatalities. It's a goal we're always reaching for, but we can only get there with everyone's help.
Thank you, John. Battling this problem in the state takes experience and knowledge. And our next speaker, Chief Sid Waddell, retired, served 27 years as the Little Compton Police Department and the last 10 years there as the chief. He currently serves as the executive director for the Chief of Police Association, and this past October received the Excellence in Service Award from MADD Rhode Island for all his hard work serving the state. Please welcome Chief Sid Waddell.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Sean. Thanks, guys. Director and ultimately AAA, who are certainly partners with law enforcement Oftentimes, they don't get as much recognition as they should, as the work that happens behind the scenes. But I am honored to be here today to represent law enforcement. My name is Sid Waddell. I am the Executive Director of the Rhode Island Police Chiefs Association, and I'm joining our law enforcement partners, our road safety folks, community partners today to share the importance of driving sober this holiday season. As the director said, this Christmas and New Year's holiday period continues to have the most drunk driving-related fatalities than any other holiday, making this season an important time to urge all Rhode Islanders and guests of our state to do their part to ensure everyone is able to celebrate the holiday season, especially with the ones they love. During the Christmas and New Year holidays through 2019, 2020, those fatalities nationwide rose. But Rhode Island has a distinction of being one of the states that had the most increases. It's not something to be proud of, and it's not something that it isn't because law enforcement with our partners is trying to work on. In fact, I don't think anybody has the exact reasons why this is happening, but it's something that we need to work on together with our partners. Beginning today, through New Year's Day, law enforcement agencies across the state will enhance their efforts to take impaired drivers off the road through our Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over campaign. Officers will conduct extra patrols and will have zero tolerance for individuals that are driving intoxicated or buzzed. During this year's campaign, officers will once again be conducting patrols in honor of victims of impaired driving crashes and fatalities. We hope to spread the message that just one death caused by a crash involving an impaired driver is too many, and the tragedies caused by those impaired driving are entirely preventable. We've heard that said now 3 times. It's entirely preventable. I want to note that those honor patrols that are conducted and the officers doing them are doing them voluntarily. It's not an assignment. It's something that they take and do with pride as they go out there and enforce during that time period specifically in honor of someone who's lost their life. Your law enforcement agency works every day to make our roads safe as possible, but we need your help as well. Again, you heard the director talk about getting behind the wheel if you've been drinking or under the influence. Can't happen. We can't let other people do that as well. Have a plan to get home safely. No one's saying to somebody you can't go out and celebrate the holidays, but think about the responsibilities that you have and don't let yourself or someone else get behind the wheel while they're impaired. Lastly, please remain vigilant when you're out on the roadways this season and watch for unsafe driving behavior. If you see something, if you feel someone is impaired, pull over, safe spot, call 911, and relay those facts to the dispatcher. Lastly, impaired driving takes way too many lives each year and affects too many families and too many communities. Our hope is for everyone to have a safe and enjoyable holiday, and by raising awareness together with our partners, our ultimate goal is to end the year with no more deaths on our roadways. I'd like to personally thank, on behalf of the Rhode Island Police Chiefs Association, the officers that are here, the officers that will be out doing those patrols, but I'd also like to thank Director Alviti and his team at Highway Safety, who is doing so much work behind the scenes, not only for statistical, but for the part where getting money and making that available to the agencies in doing that. And for that, we're deeply grateful in doing it for all that you're doing, so thank you. To MADD Rhode Island, to Ms. Andriozzi, to AAA, we also want to thank you for the work that you're doing, and we look forward to reporting out no fatalities over the holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Working to achieve no more victims in Rhode Island takes partnerships throughout the state. One of the strong partnerships that's been advocated for a long time in the state is the hard work being done by AAA, both on the legal level, on the roadside, but also in education programs to youth throughout our state. AAA has led the way in trying to help make Rhode Island safer. Please welcome up, representing AAA, Managing Director Dave Raposa.
Thank you, Sean, and good morning, everybody. AAA is honored to be included here today, and it's not ironic that we're doing this at the Warwick Mall. I should mention they have a very long history of community service, community outreach. The fact that they're hosting this is no surprise whatsoever, so thank you to the mall. Yesterday, AAA released our travel projections for this year's Christmas, New Year's holiday period. 100 million people nationwide will be traveling at least 50 miles or more from home by car, including 3.7 million right here in New England. That's a significant increase over last year, and actually is approaching pre-pandemic levels in terms of travel by car. Unfortunately, too many of those drivers will be impaired, speeding, or not wearing their seatbelts. The nation is heading toward 40,000 traffic fatalities in 2021, a move that's definitely in the wrong direction. During the holidays, AAA will respond to 1.3 million calls for roadside assistance. At the same time, police, fire and rescue, DOT trucks, utility trucks will also be at the roadside assisting motorists or serving the public. Tragically, one roadside worker is killed on average every other week in this country, and daily there are numerous near misses and injuries that kind of go unreported or are unnoticed, but are certainly noticed by us who have our workers at the roadside. Distraction and impairment are major factors in these incidents, but as we stand here, a full quarter of the population is totally unaware of slow down, move over laws and how they are meant to protect, a lot of the people I'm looking at right now. It's such a small maneuver to make, to slow down and move over, but it can help assure that those who serve us will make it home safely for the holidays. AAA is proud to stand here today with MADD and all these tireless advocates for highway safety in support of the Victim Honor Patrols program. We encourage those opening their homes over the holidays to be first a friend and then a host. It doesn't take much effort to serve mocktails or arrange for transportation home for guests at your parties. We can turn these numbers around, but it takes all of us, but we can do this. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Throughout Rhode Island, one of the strongest voices we have is the voices of our victims. At MADD, we serve victims throughout Rhode Island free of charge in any way that we can help them. The victims and their voices are strong advocates to get us down to zero fatalities. In 2003, a hit-and-run drunk driver forever changed the life of the Andruzzi Foundation. They then opened up the Tory Lynn Foundation with a mission of choices, moments, courage, and hope. Kathy Andruzzi has been a strong advocate throughout the state over the years, trying to educate youth and make changes to make Rhode Island roadways safer. She serves on the board of directors of MADD and has been a good friend and a mentor through the program during my 3 years. Please welcome up Kathy Andruzzi.
Good morning. I always think I know what I'm going to say until I don't. But this morning, as I was leaving the house in the hallway, I passed a small Christmas tree that I put up last night. And it's a special tree because it is filled with ornaments that were made in school by my children. And for years, they would, when they were young, obviously, they would bring these little ornaments home from school and they would adorn our Christmas tree. And then as they got older, the ornaments found their way into boxes that were packed away, thinking that someday they would be passed on to them for their children. And then you realize that you have no one to give them to. And so a tree now adorns a corner outside of my daughter's room that is much like a hospital room, and all of the ornaments from days gone by hang there. And it's bittersweet because it makes you smile and you remember them bounding through the door, happy and proud to give them to you. And then it obviously is tinged with sadness. And that's what life is like when it has been irrevocably changed by a choice. Holidays are full of tradition and memories and gatherings. And for those who have had someone they love taken when it is totally preventable, those traditions and gatherings and memories, they change. It's not the same anymore for anyone who's grieving, truly, when there is an empty spot at a table. For us, traditions are always about gathering and telling stories. And when there's a voice that's missing, it's difficult. Knowing that we are going to be part of this honor patrol means so much to our family, and I'm certain it does to the other families as well. I mean, everyone grieves differently. I can't speak for how other people grieve, but I've yet to meet anyone who isn't happy to be able to talk about their loved one, to be able to say their name, to be able to share a story. As a parent, I know that, obviously your worst nightmare is losing your child, but your second worst nightmare is having someone forget your loved one. And by the ability to participate in this honor patrol, you know that they're riding along with the finest, that someone is going to say their name, that someone is going to hear their story, that it's going to be shared, and that hopefully that story, that name, is something that has the potential to prevent another family from knowing the same pain and the same loss. Holidays are full of hustle and bustle, and we all meticulously make our lists. We check them twice. How many gifts do I have to get? What ingredients do I need for a recipe? And we spend all of this time planning. We make a plan so that the holidays go smoothly, and then they're over in the blink of an eye. Well, when we bounce from one gathering to another, and we're going to participate in holiday cheer, we need to make a list, and we need to check it twice, and we need to make sure that we have a plan that we can get there safely so that there's not another empty space. And while no one can fill the void or the empty space that's at your table, it's nice to know that their space will be filled in an honor patrol. And we know that they'll always fill the space in our hearts. I wish everyone a happy, safe, healthy holiday season. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kathy. As you've heard many people say up here today, this is 100% preventable crime. Please do your part this holiday season. Have a plan before you go out. If you're intoxicated or you're high, please don't drive. Stay at a friend's house. Call an Uber, call a taxi, a Lyft. Do something so that you get home safely and everyone else does also. Help do your part this year. I'd like to thank the law enforcement that was able to show up today, and also those law enforcement doing a great job across our state in handling the honor patrols. We appreciate your help. We appreciate your partnership. I'd like to thank Director Alviti and the hard work being done at the DOT. I'd like to thank Chief Waddell and the work being done by the Chief of Police Association. Dave Raposa and AAA as a steadfast partner in trying to help the state get to no more victims. The great work being done at the Attorney General's office and John Corrigan for coming out today, and Kathy Andruzzi and being a voice for our victims. In closing, we really want to thank the mall for allowing us to have this here. This was a great spot. Thank you, Channel 12, Channel 10, and Channel 6 for coming out today and helping get the word out so that we can make this a safe holiday. And I'd like to wish everybody a happy and very safe holiday this season. Thank you.